Hello everyone, and welcome to Module 6, Lesson 2, Different Types of Scholarly Communication. In the last lecture, we discussed how sources, be they articles, books, films, etc., can act in conversation between each other, answering the other's claims and making new arguments. In this lecture, we're going to explore the various different ways in which scholars share their research in the wider world. So for most of this semester, we focused on the most obvious, important, and prestigious form of scholarly communication, the peer-reviewed book or article. Peer-reviewed books and articles are the gold standard of scholarly communication. Publication is often the yardstick by which tenure is offered and expertise is established in academia. But while publication is extremely important for academics, it's hardly the only way that we share our research, and these other ways we're about to discuss may have a broader impact with the public at large. So how do scholars share their work? Well, similar to publication, but not quite the same, is presentation at scholarly conferences. Most disciplines have an annual professional conference where groups like historians, engineers, and, yes, librarians meet to discuss the issues in their field, eat and drink, and, yes, share their research. While some of these conferences are limited to the local area, national-level conferences like those of the American Historical Association or the American Library Association can be huge deals that can provide a presenter with a major platform to share their work. For example, the annual meeting of the American Library Association, which is held during the summer, regularly has an attendance of nearly 40,000 members. While some conferences can submit presentations to a form of peer review, generally speaking, conference presentations tend to be less formal than published articles or books, and are often used by scholars as a place to test out work that they intend to publish in order to subject it to early criticism. Another, even less formal type of publication comes through popular media and blogs. Unlike scholarly publications and conference presentations, the audience for popular media and blogging is the public at large. This means that the tone and language of this type of scholarly communication has to be on a level to be accessible to the general public, so lots of explanation and not a lot of jargon. Perhaps the least formal type of communication that scholars participate in is one that many of you do every day, post through social media. While there are a lot of scholars on social media, some of them have become true social media celebrities in their own right, such as Neil deGrasse Tyson, for example. Posting on social media can provide a scholar with the widest possible of audiences, but as anyone who's ever gotten involved in a conversation on Twitter or Facebook can attest to, it's not without its risks. A lot of discussions online are anything but scholarly, even among scholars. There's a lot of trolling, flaming, and joking around. So scholars share their ideas in a lot of different formats. However, the differing levels of formality in these different formats determine just how much scholarly content each of these types of communications will have. Also, as you should remember from Module 5 when we discussed authority in the crap test, just because a world-renowned physicist is opining on politics on Twitter doesn't mean their arguments on the subject hold the same weight as the arguments they might make at a conference or in a journal on thermodynamics. As we stated before, authority is constructed and contextual, even on Twitter. So in your activity for today, you're going to be considering the various different ways that scholars communicate with each other. You're going to look at 3 different sources in Blackboard. With each of these sources, consider the following. 1. What type of topics are being covered? 2. What is the tone in each form of communication? Is it serious, formal, or more freewheeling? 3. What types of evidence do scholars use in each form of communication to support their arguments? And finally, how responsive are each of these types of communication? Now, in order to help you with this assignment, I need to provide you with a little background about the review of the Goldhagen book. In 1996, historian Daniel Jonah Goldhagen, this guy, wrote a very controversial book on the Holocaust titled Hitler's Willing Executioners. In this book, he basically made the argument that German culture made the Holocaust inevitable, and that there was something inherent in the German character that made anti-Semitism and the mass slaughter of Jews possible. While Goldhagen wasn't the first one to make the argument that there was something particular about the Germans and their history, he took the argument to such an extreme that there was a particularly nasty response from the historical community to his book. As a result, Goldhagen's book was heavily criticized, including in the review you're about to read by Yehuda Bauer, this gentleman here, who was one of the foremost scholars of the Holocaust in his time. Good luck out there, guys, and stay safe.